All right, Algebra 2, Section 2.4, write the equation of a line. There's two ways we're going to write this equation of a line. There's slope-intercept form and there's point-slope form. I guess you could also consider standard form one of those, which we learned about yesterday. But those are 2 points, okay? We'll talk about what says slope-intercept form first. If we, based on the graph, they give us where it crosses the y-axis, which is -2, so we write b equals -2. And our slope, it shows us, goes up 3/4. So our slope would be rise over run, which would be 3/4. So we'd write y equals 3/4 x minus 2, because all we're doing is substituting in for y equals mx plus b. Okay, substitute 3/4 for m, substitute -2 for b, and that would be our answer. Okay, pretty easy when they give us that. Okay, you can do these on your own, but I'll do one with you. You just write slope-intercept form, so it'd be y equals your m, which is -3/4, x plus your b, which is 7/2, or 7/2. Okay, you can do those two on your own. They're pretty easy. You just write y equals, plug it in y equals mx plus b, plug it in slope-intercept form. Okay, when they give you a point and they give you a slope, what we want to do is plug it into point-slope form. Okay. You could also, I'll show you both ways to do this, but let's do point-slope form first. So if they give you this, that's your point, that's your x1 and y1, and that is your m. Okay. We leave y and x as y and x as far as point-slope form. Okay. So how we'd plug that in is y minus y1, which is 4, equals m, which is -3, parentheses x minus x1, which is 5. Okay. So then from there, we're going to distribute. We get y minus 4 equals -3x. -3 times -5 is +15. Okay, and then from there, we're going to get y by itself by adding 4 to both sides. And we get y equals -3x plus 19. Okay, so that's one way to do it. The other way to do it, to plug in the slope-intercept form, is you could do y equals mx plus b. Okay, and we could plug in our y, which was our y again? Our y was 4. So we could do 4 equals our slope, which is -3, times our x, which was 5. So we know everything but b. So basically, if we do it this way, where we plug it in the slope-intercept form, we're solving for b. So we'd have 4 equals -15 plus b. And then to solve for b, we would add 15 to both sides. That is a 4, by the way. Okay, that kind of looks like a y, but that's a 4. We plugged in. So we'd have 19 equals b. Well, once you have 19 equals b, we already knew our slope was -3. And we could write it in slope-intercept form, just like we did on the previous slides. It'd be y equals -3x plus 19. Okay. Either way works. Whatever one you feel more comfortable doing, do it. I think the top way is quicker because you don't have to rewrite it. But a lot of people don't remember that formula. They only remember y equals mx plus b. So whatever way is easiest for you, just practice, get good at that, and then make sure you can do it. Okay. If they say write an equation of a line that's parallel to this, all right. So it's parallel -2, 3, and it's parallel, well, and perpendicular line y equals -4x plus 1. Okay, so if it's parallel, we know that parallel means that it's the same slope. Okay, so if it has a slope of -4, that means that this has a slope of -4. Okay, so we know that if it's parallel, it has to have the same slope of -4 because it has to be the same as that line. So if we do the parallel one, let's do A first. And I'll do this one using point-slope form. So this would be x1, this would be y1. So we'd have y minus 3 equals -4, parentheses x minus -2. That minus -2 is going to turn into a positive. So let's just add the opposite on that. So that y minus 3 equals -4 times x is -4x. -4 times 2 is -8. Then we're going to add 3 to both sides. And we get y equals -4x minus 5, because -8 plus 3 is -5. Okay, so that would be parallel to it. That's the answer for A. Okay, now if we want to do B, and let's say we need to figure out, so perpendicular, what is perpendicular to -4? Well, what's the opposite reciprocal of -4? Well, it's got to be positive, and if you flip 4 over 1 upside down, you get 1 over 4. So the opposite reciprocal of -4 will be 1/4. Okay, so we know our slope has to be 1/4, and our point's going to stay the same. So let's say if we do it using just slope-intercept form way, y equals mx plus b. All right, well, what's our y? Our y is 3 equals m, which is 1/4, times our x, which is -2, plus b. Okay, and then -1/4 times -2 is -1/2 plus b. Then we add 1/2 to both sides, and we get, let's just say 3.5. You can say 3.5, but usually they don't write the y-intercept as a mixed number. So leave as decimal, or you can say 7/2, but I think 3.5 sounds good. Okay, 3 plus 1/2 is 3.5. So now we have our y-intercept, we have our slope. Our answer would be y equals 1/4 x plus 3.5 for the second part. Okay, so again, you can do it the point slope form way, or you can do it the y-intercept way. Whichever way is easiest for you, pick that way and get really good at it. Okay, I'm showing you both ways so you have options what makes sense to you. Okay, a line perpendicular to a line with a slope m1 equals -4 has a slope of m2 negative. That just means the opposite reciprocal of 1/4. Is this the one we just did? Yeah, this is the one we just did. Never mind. Don't worry about this one. We've already done this one. Okay, moving on. Okay, I'll let you guys do this one on your own. Okay, remember you can use point slope form or y-intercept form. Remember, if it's parallel, it should have the same slope. If it's perpendicular, it should be opposite reciprocal. So you should have 2 answers on both of these. Okay, that should be, ignore that. Well, you can double check. That's probably your parallel one, but I didn't write the perpendicular one on there. I forgot to delete that. So you can check that. That is the parallel one. Okay, on this one, if it gives you 2 points, what we have to do first is find the slope. We find the slope using slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so if we do that, y2 would be 10 minus -2 over 2 minus 5. 10 minus -2 is positive 12. 2 minus 5 is -3, so our slope is -4. So once we know our slope, we could pick either point for our x1, y1. I would just pick this one because it has x1, y1 with it. And they want us to do point slope form, so we can do that. So we'd have y minus our y1. Remember, this is x1 and y1. So -2, which later we'll have to change that to positive because add the opposite. And we have -4 parentheses x minus x1, which is 5. So y minus -2 is going to become y plus 2. We have -4 times x is -4x. -4 times -5 is positive 20. Then the last step is subtract 2 from both sides. And we have y equals -4x plus 18. Okay, so that's the toughest ones you're going to have to do is when they give you 2 points, you first have to find the slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then you just substitute one of the points in. Okay, you can do that slope-intercept form too as well. Either way, that's easier for you. Okay, they said use point slope form, but that's how you have to do that. That takes the most steps on that. All right. In the school year ending in 1993, 2 million females participated in U.S. high school sports. By 2003, the number increased to 2.86 million. Write a linear equation that models female sports participation. Okay, so basically the same type problem, it's just a word problem. This is your x1, and this is your x2. This is y1, and this is y2. Time is always x. Time is always independent, and the other number they give you with you is dependent. You know, how many females participate in sports is dependent upon the year. In 1993, not as many. In 2003, a lot more. Okay, so let's just leave the millions off that right now. We can work with that later. But let's just do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it'll be 2.86 minus 2 0.00, I guess we can write 0, 0, over 2003 minus 1993. So 2.86 minus 2 is 0.86. That would be in millions. Remember that because it's in millions. 2003 minus 1993 is 10. So what is 0.86 divided by 10? That would be 0.086. Okay, 0.086 is the slope. So then we could pick x1, y1 as our point to plug into slope or point slope form. So we'd have, we're going to plug it into this form, y minus y1 equals in parentheses x minus x1. So we'd have y minus our y1, which is what, 1993, equals m, which is 0.086 times x minus, what's our x1? No, sorry, check that. That's our x1, 1993, because the time is always x. And then our y1 would be 2 million, or just 2 for right now, okay? So we got y minus 2 equals 0.086, remember that's in millions, x. And then times that by 1993. And that would be minus 171.398. And the last step is to add 2 to it. Plus 2, plus 2. And it'd be y equals 0.086x. Be negative 169.398. Okay, would be our slope. Okay, and remember that's in millions. We've got our x. Okay, so given a year, you could multiply this in. All right, let's say we wanted to do 2014. You don't have to do this part, but let's just say you did 2014. So you get y equals 0.086 times 2014 minus 169.398. So if we did that, we would get 3.806 million, because any answer you just got to attach a million girls participate in sports. So a lot in 2014. Okay, so that's how this sets up, because later what we're going to do is they're going to ask you, well, now that you have this linear, if this stays, the trend continues, what would it be, you know, in this year? Okay, but that's how you would set that up. If they give you 2 of those, you have to find the slope, put it in point slope form or slope intercept form, and then rewrite it. Okay, just make sure you know that that's in millions. And we just left that off so we wouldn't have to deal with those bigger numbers. Okay, so do these 2 on your own. Find the slope first, then put them in either point slope form or slope intercept form to rewrite the equation. Your assignment is 2.4, page 101, 3 through 17 odd, 21 through 24, 27, 31 through 37 odd, and 51. If I went too fast on this, bring those notes to class so we can go over them, or have me pause it in class so we can go over the problems.